What's good, y'all? It's your boy Ross back at again with another video, man. So we're gonna check out 10 WWE moments that define pure cinema by WrestleMania. We're witnessing it right now in the Bloodline storyline. It is literally one of the greatest stories that WWE has ever told in their company history. It's easily, for me, one of my favorites. It's something that has twists and turns. It gets everybody involved. Like, everybody has a part to play in this story arc. Like, everybody has their moment. There's some highs, there's some lows, there's some happy moments, like hilarious and funny and joyous moments. There's some sad moments. There's some moments that you don't know what's about to happen. You're scared for a certain person within the story. This is great, and we're watching it right now. So I'm glad that WrestleMania did make this video, because definitely this deserves to be on the list of some of the best cinema making moments WWE has ever produced. So I'm looking forward to going down memory lane, checking out some of these other ones and see how they compare to the Bloodline one, because right now, in my opinion, this is one of the best storylines WWE has ever produced, and I want to see if WrestleMania has this ranked as number one. We're gonna get right into this. No more talking. So this thing.
This Is Cinema meme has become one of the most popular memes on social media over the past couple of years, and it's finally transitioned into the world of pro wrestling. The meme can be used for a scene in a movie or a standout moment from a TV show.
Facts.
However, when it comes to wrestling, it's traditionally used when a memorable, seemingly iconic moment takes place. Join us now as WrestleMania looks at 10 WWE moments that were pure cinema. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new channel, WrestleMania Shorts. Number 10, Edge comes out of retirement. Edge's retirement in 2011 shook the wrestling world to its core. Edge was forced to retire as world champion due to severe neck problems, and it seemed like an impossibility that the rated R superstar would ever wrestle again. But fast forward to the 2020 Royal Rumble, and Edge's music hits, and he entered the match as a surprise entrant. The sheer shock of fans and attendants turned to a sense of joy and fulfillment as Edge was finally back in WWE. It was hard to watch Edge's return without getting emotional, and it was clear that Edge himself was struggling to hold it all together. Edge was now ready to go, and he was ready to finish his career in the squared circle on his own terms. Number 9, the Texas Rattlesnake strikes again. WWE made up for a disappointing WrestleMania 16 with a critically acclaimed Backlash event. The Backlash pay-per-view in 2000 was outstanding, and it was topped off from the match that should have main evented WrestleMania, that being Triple H versus The Rock for the WWE title. The two had a tremendous match as expected, and it was towards the end of the match in which the entire world got to witness one of the loudest ovations in WWE history. Stone Cold Steve Austin would make his return to WWE following his neck surgery, and he would assist The Rock in overcoming the McMahon Helmsley faction.
WWE
it was a wonderful
history,
moment, and arguably one of the most iconic returns of the entire Attitude Era. The Rock would then go on to win the title and drink a beer with his former arch-rival as Backlash 2000 went off the air.
Beautiful moment.
Number 8, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn main event WrestleMania. Heading into WrestleMania 39, there was a ton of debate.
Hey, man, I don't know what to tell you. This was good, and this is part of the Bloodline saga. Them main eventing night one, being part of the Bloodline saga. It's like, bro, so good, so good.
As to which match should main event night one of the show. It was reported that WWE wanted Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair to close out night one, yet fans were endlessly pushing to see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Usos.
And Rhea versus Charlotte was very, very good. If this match wasn't on the show, that should have main evented. Rhea versus Charlotte should have main evented night one. But this match needed to main event night one because the story was there. Oh, this is so good.
To close out the show. The main reason for this was because the story between the four men was unbelievable, and it was the right move to see the hottest story in the company close out night one of the biggest show of the year. Thankfully, WWE listened, and the four men got the nod to close out the show.
Fantastic
the match was excellent, and it resulted in Owens and Zayn becoming undisputed tag team champions. The final shot of night one of WrestleMania 39 featured the two celebrating, and it was beautiful to watch, as both men deserved this special moment in the spotlight.
Oh
Number 7, Becky Lynch confronts Ronda Rousey. At the start of 2019, Becky Lynch was one of the most popular stars in WWE. This popularity led to Lynch and Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey's eventual showdown being one of the most anticipated in recent memory. The two would finally face off at a heated confrontation in January of 2019 on Raw after Lynch had won the Women's Royal Rumble. The crowd were mesmerized by this segment, and the face-off between the two women should have been a still shot that sold WrestleMania. Unfortunately, whilst this moment was utter magic, the WWE had to ruin the legacy of this moment by adding Charlotte Flair to
Oh my God. Jesus. And now we'll never really get that one-on-one we were supposed to get, bro. Once they added her, it no longer had the cinema effect to it. It became typical WWE overbooking. The story was there. No. Just no.
their WrestleMania 35 encounter. Nevertheless, the initial stare down between Lynch and Rousey is one of the most iconic segments WWE have ever delivered. Number 6, Daniel Bryan stands tall. A WrestleMania 30 was built heavily around.
This was peak cinema right here, boy. This is why I always go back to this. This was outside of in recent years, the Bloodline storyline has definitely been one of the greatest stories WWE has told, and it's still telling because it's not over yet. This right here would have had to been right up there too. The Yes Movement it was fantastic. It was fantastic, bro. It was if you weren't there to experience it live, man, you really missed out. It was one of those moments where it felt organic, like how the Bloodline stuff is organic. People rooting for the ultimate underdog to achieve the impossible after the Authority just kept screwing him over. It's like it was perfect. It worked. That was one of the greatest WWE storylines they've produced, and it involved Daniel Bryan winning it at WrestleMania 30. Chef's kiss cinema.
Around Daniel Bryan. Bryan had emerged as a default top babyface of the WWE, and despite WWE's desire to see Bryan in an alternative role, WWE fans were adamant that Bryan was their guy. WrestleMania 30's opening contest would see Bryan defeat Triple H, and this allowed Bryan to be added to the main event title match between Randy Orton and Batista. The main event match was fantastic, and it culminated in Bryan making Batista tap out to become WWE champion. WrestleMania 30 would go off the air with Bryan celebrating with the two world titles as confetti fell down to the ground. It was a beloved moment, and it was special not just because WWE finally listened to the fans, but also because Bryan was someone who truly deserved it. Bryan was one of the hardest workers in the entire company, and him closing out WrestleMania 30 in this manner was the culmination of his resilience, sacrifice, and endless dedication. Number 5, The Game returns. WWE took a huge blow in 2001 when their resident top heels Triple H went down with a serious quadricep injury. This meant that the Game missed all of the infamous Invasion storylines, and his presence was definitely missed during the storyline itself. Triple H finally returned to WWE TV in early 2002 on Raw, and the Game received a colossal reaction. The Game returned in front of a packed house at Madison Square Garden, and the pop itself has been labeled as one of the biggest pops in the history of Raw. When the Game entered the ring, it was evident that he was stunned by this reaction. After all, the last time WWE fans had seen the Game, he was a detestable heel.
Yeah, he was a heel. When he came out, crowd went insane. It's still one of the greatest pops in WWE history. I'm sure he wasn't expecting that, but hey, the people was happy to see him, man.
Now the fans were unanimously cheering in admiration of him. According to Triple H himself in his book titled Making the Game, he was trying really hard not to burst into tears. But when he got back through the curtain, the emotion overcame him. When I got back through the curtain and I made sure I was out of sight, I lost it. I was bawling. Certainly not out of sadness. It was an appreciation. The whole ordeal was just so emotional for me. What I'd gone through, what I almost lost, the appreciation the fans showed me, it all just hit me at once, and I lost it.
I can't even imagine just coming out there and all those people are going insane. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it, and I'm not the one that lived through it. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't the one out there, but just to imagine that. to stay in character as much as you possibly can. Go back in the curtain, behind the curtain, and just it all hits you. Beautiful moment, man.
Number 4, The Rebellion of Jimmy Uso. The Bloodline saga has dominated WWE for 3 years, and in that time,
another version of the story is on the list. The Bloodline story is on this list.
In consistently high ratings and a ton of lapsed fans being reintroduced to the WWE product.
Yeah.
There have been several moments throughout the saga that could have made the cut for this video,
Facts.
and in reality, a top 10 could be delivered just on the saga itself.
Facts.
One of the moments which sent fans into a frenzy came at the end of 2023 Night of Champions event. During the main event match, which pitted Roman Reigns teaming with Solo Sikoa to take on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, Jimmy Uso decided enough was enough, and he decided to stand up to Reigns once and for all. The Usos interfered in the match, and when they attempted a super kick on Zayn, Zayn moved out of the way, and the kick unintentionally hit Solo Sikoa. Upon seeing this, Reigns was infuriated, and he shoved both of the Usos. This was the exact moment in which Jimmy decided to stand his ground, and he delivered 2 game-changing super kicks to Reigns. The chaotic situation allowed Zayn and Owens to take advantage by hitting the stunner and haluva kick combination on Sikoa to win the match. The Bloodline was disintegrating before everyone's eyes, and it was the WWE at its very best. Number 3, Kofi Mania. Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston.
This deserves to be on the list too, bro. It's so Kofi Mania, even though it wasn't as long as a tenure as, a longer of a story as we all wanted it to be, his title reign included, but it just worked. It was so fitting that Daniel Bryan was the heel, and he's on the opposite side of what he was trying to become. It was actually poetic. This is actually cinema. I love that Kofi Kingston promo before Mania. He's like, how this story ends. You were in the situation I'm in now. You've been in this situation, but the tables have turned. You know how this story ends, and it was a beautiful moment, bro.
For the WWE title wasn't their original plan for WrestleMania 35, but it ultimately resulted in one of the finest storylines WWE delivered in the PG era. A heel version of Bryan was at the top of his game, and he was bringing out the best out of the always likable Kofi Kingston. The eventual match between the two was exceptional, and it's easy to see why fans thought it should have main evented the show. Kingston eventually managed to get the win, and he would celebrate with his New Day teammates as well as his close family. It was an incredibly touching moment, and it was incredibly satisfying to witness one of the most likable talents in all of WWE finally get his moment. Number 2, Eddie Guerrero becomes the guy. By the time WWE arrived at the No Way Out pay-per-view in 2004, Eddie Guerrero's popularity had skyrocketed. Guerrero was the most beloved babyface in the company, and it was finally time to see him crowned as the top guy on SmackDown. Guerrero would face off against Brock Lesnar in the main event of the show, and the match itself was one of the best matches of the Ruthless Aggression era. The closing moments of the match offered for some tense yet exciting viewing, as Guerrero would counter an F5 from Lesnar into a tornado DDT, and this allowed Guerrero to climb the turnbuckle and deliver a picture-perfect frog splash for the 1-2-3. Guerrero had finally done it. He was the new WWE champion, and the arena erupted. Fans were overjoyed that Guerrero was now the champion, and Guerrero's emotional response told the whole story. This was a deserved moment for a legendary talent like no other.
Man.
And number 1, Sami Zayn's betrayal. The Bloodline saga was sent into an unexpected direction in 2022 when Sami Zayn joined the faction. Zayn brought a ton of depth to the group, as Zayn was notoriously an outstanding worker, but he also had incredible comedic talents, which resulted in him almost making the members of the faction break character on live TV. When the Bloodline began to feud with Kevin Owens, this put Zayn in an awkward position. Zayn and Owens had decorated history, and their friendship was well received, but Zayn had a family in the Bloodline, so he had to try and come to a decision on where his allegiance lied. The main event of the 2023 Rumble saw Roman Reigns defeat Kevin Owens, and after the match, the entire Bloodline delivered a brutal beatdown to Owens, and Owens would have his arms tied to the ropes. When Reigns attempted to strike a broken and battered Owens with a chair, Zayn intervened and informed Reigns that enough was enough. Reigns then ordered Zayn to be the one to strike Owens
This
with a
is
chair
so
in order to show his allegiance to the faction. A conflicted and tormented
my
Zayn then attacked
God,
Reigns with a chair,
bro.
resulting in one of the biggest crowd ovations in
bro. Oh
WWE
my
history.
God, this
The
is
rest
so
of the bloodline, with the exception of Jey Uso, then proceeded
is
to attack
so
Zayn, and the show
good,
went off the air
bro.
with Owens and Zayn laying motionless on the canvas.
This
It was
was so
exceptionally delivered, and the response from the crowd was phenomenal. WWE had truly hit a home run with the angle, and it's going to be a moment which is played in highlight reels for decades to come. And there
I
you have it,
can't
folks.
stop laughing. If you guys were there for that live stream, oh my goodness, bro. It was just fantastic, bro. It was just it seemed so long ago, bro. But when Sammy hit him with that chair, shades of Seth Rollins hitting him with the chair appeared, man. It was beautiful, bro. One of the loudest ovations, one of the loudest pops ever. I lost my mind when he finally did it. I was like, this is great. And it's crazy seeing multiple iterations of the Bloodline storyline being on this list, because it's been one of the best things on WWE television, man. This is great. Love this list. Comment down below. Let me know what are some other cinema making moments that you would just be like, man, this is so good. This is chef kiss perfect storytelling. If you guys can remember that that happened in WWE that's not on this list. There's plenty of them. Let me know down below, bro. I appreciate all the love and support. Road to 150K. And I'm still getting Speedy, you just wrestling shepherd of the world. Appreciate y'all kicking with me. See you on the next one.